hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone listening in to tonight's broadcast of VORW Radio International, the voice of the report of the week, going out to you this Monday, the 1st of May, 2023. This broadcast is transmitted to you on the international shortwave frequency of 4840 kilohertz WWCR. Hope everyone out there listening into this broadcast is feeling and doing all right, and I wish you good reception conditions. In tonight's program, a roundup of select current events, following the news, some listener-requested music. Please stay tuned. The news is next. I have, as of now, 4 stories to discuss, some of which are actually a little lighter. Some of them are heavier. Let's get into it. This essentially is a follow-up on the helicopter crash that happened over in Alaska. Army leadership on Friday ordered an aviation stand-down after 2 fatal helicopter crashes, the most recent of which killed 3 soldiers and injured a 4th in Alaska on Thursday. The order by Army Chief of Staff James McConville grounds all Army aviators, except those on critical missions, until they do training, the Army said in a statement. The safety of our aviators is our top priority, and this stand down is an important step to make certain we are doing everything possible to prevent accidents and protect our personnel, McConville said in a statement. 12 soldiers have been killed in helicopter crashes since March, and on Thursday, 3 soldiers died and a 4th was injured after 2 Apache helicopters collided in midair in Alaska and crashed, the 11th Airborne Division said. They were returning to Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks at the time. On March 29, 9 soldiers died when 2 Black Hawk helicopters had crashed in Kentucky. Both incidents involved training exercises. During this stand down, we will focus on safety and training protocols to ensure our pilots and crews have the knowledge, training, and awareness to safely complete their assigned mission, McConville said. The cause of Thursday's crash in Alaska is under investigation. The names of the soldiers who were killed have not yet been released. Now, this story is a little bit lighter, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. Schoolboy steers school bus to safety after driver passes out. 66 Michigan school students are all safe thanks to one quick-thinking 13-year-old who steered the school bus to safety after the driver lost consciousness, officials said. Dylan Reeves of Carter Middle School in Warren leapt to the front from his seat about 5 rows back before taking control of the wheel. A video shows the bus driver messaging officials that she is not feeling well. Shortly after, the driver loses grip of the steering wheel, falling limp, and students are heard screaming as the bus starts to veer from its lane. The student was able to stop the bus and then shouted out for someone to call 911. The cause of the bus driver's illness is not yet known. She does not have a history of any other incident while driving. When police called Dylan's parents, his father, Stephen Reeves, first asked, "What the heck did he do?" An official said, "No, your son is a hero." A councilman for the town, about 30 miles north of Detroit, praised Dylan for bringing the bus to a stop and avoiding what could have been a very tragic accident. So that was good to see, and I'm glad that story is getting the coverage that it deserves. Very quick thinking on the part of that boy there. And undoubtedly it was a situation that otherwise perhaps could have ended very badly. As you see, this was a school bus that was packed with young students there, 66 of them. And as you often see with some of these dash cam videos, it just takes one wrong move, especially going down a highway, and the outcome could be very different. So really he did, in the truest sense, save the day there. And very quick thinking on his part. Into international news. A massive fire was ignited in the Crimean port city of Sevastopol following a suspected drone attack on a fuel storage tank. The blaze was assigned to the highest ranking in terms of how complicated it will be to extinguish. Mikhail Razvosyev, the Russian governor, wrote on Telegram Saturday. The fire was still burning, but it had been contained and no one was injured. The oil reservoir fire did not cause any casualties and would not hinder fuel supplies in Sevastopol, he said. The 4 fuel tanks that were hit, they are practically burned out already, said Razvosyev, adding an area of 1,000 square meters had been engulfed in flames. The situation is under the control of our firefighters and all operative services. Footage shared on social media showed flames engulfing fuel storage tanks and a thick plume of black smoke rising over the city. A spokesperson for Ukraine's armed forces said he did not have any information to suggest that Ukraine was responsible for Saturday's fire. However, Sevastopol has come under repeated air attacks since Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022. Kiev has repeatedly declared its intention to retake the Crimean Peninsula, which was annexed in 2014 by Russia, to international outcry. After previous attacks on Crimea, Ukraine has stopped short of openly claiming responsibility, but emphasized it has the right to strike any target in response to Russian aggression. An update on the situation in Sudan. Number 1, as for the ceasefire, if you're the betting type and you've listened in to recent broadcasts, what do you want to put the money on? Do you want to put the money on the chance that this ceasefire, they actually mean it and it's held? Or do you want to put money on the chance that this ceasefire fell through? What'll it be? And if you decided to put your money on the ceasefire falling through, well, congratulations, you win, because fighting continues in Sudan for its 16th day. Explosions and heavy gunfire were reported across the capital Khartoum and its twin city of Omdurman, despite the announcement of a new 72-hour ceasefire, and I roll my eyes at that, interjecting. The sounds of airstrikes, anti-aircraft weaponry, and heavy artillery were heard. Sudan's military chief, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, he's on the Sudanese government side. He's in charge there, military dictator. He has ruled out negotiations with the Rapid Support Forces leader, Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, accusing him of orchestrating a rebellion against the state a day after the military expressed openness to the talks. Well, there goes that. And I had a feeling that's the direction it would have taken, because it's overwhelmingly apparent at this point that neither side could really care less about backing down at this point. They all have too much to lose. They've got too much skin in the game, essentially. No one is backing down here. That's my understanding of this. The United Nations issued a warning of an escalation in violence in Sudan's West Darfur region. And fighting in the region has also involved Arab militias and ethnic Darfuri tribes. The army has accused the RSF of opening fire on a Turkish evacuation plane as it landed at an airport outside Khartoum. More than 500 people have been killed, 4,200 wounded. Ongoing battles in northern Khartoum have left residents without basic services and unable to escape. More than 70 have died in West Darfur's capital, El Geneina, the Sudan Doctors Union said. Experts warn Sudan's healthcare system is on the verge of collapse as medication is scarce, blood banks are running out, and dead bodies litter the streets. A hospital supported by Doctors Without Borders was looted in El Geneina in a violent intrusion, the group said. And the UN's refugee agency said fighting prompted tens of thousands of people to seek sanctuary in neighboring countries and other parts of Sudan. Close to 100,000 have crossed into neighboring nations. So the situation continues, the chaos continues, and as I said, neither side is backing down at this point in time, and as a result of that, the country suffers. This was a country that had its problems, but compared to some of the countries surrounding it, I'm specifically talking about Chad, South Sudan, Eritrea, and Ethiopia, Sudan was better off. As I said, they had problems. There were a lot of people in consensus even before this started that life was getting worse, it was getting more difficult, but this I think is just the final blow. And a lot of people were saying, because you're seeing videos emerging of some of these neighborhoods in Khartoum after the fighting, everything is blown out, everything's destroyed, every building after building, it's it is a war zone. Because you have tanks, you have rocket launchers, you have airstrikes, everything's just being indiscriminately blown up. I mean, there was this video of this government helicopter flying around Khartoum, and it was just launching the missiles around like it was no big deal. They said, oh, this was a strategic strike against this building where these guys were in. You watch the video, what does the helicopter do? Flies in, it launches a dozen missiles. 4 of them hit the building, the rest hit all the buildings around it. That doesn't seem like a precision strike to me. And some people were cynically, although I would hate to say accurately, commenting. They said probably, great job taking out that family that was probably in the next building. Some precision strike, huh? So a lot of people are accusing the Sudanese government forces for being ruthless here, but at the same time, the RSF just as ruthless. A lot of that looting that you're seeing reports of is apparently being perpetrated by RSF personnel. And neither side cares about the civilians. That's overwhelmingly clear at this point. So it's just a mess, no end in sight. So that's an update on some thoughts on the conflict in Sudan. And that's the latest news here on VORW, Radio International. Now for the remainder of the broadcast, I'd like to balance out this talk and discussion with some listener-requested music. But before we get into the tunes, please note that if you're tuned into this broadcast right now, I have no analytics for this transmission. That means I have no statistics, no metrics, no way of knowing that there is anyone out there listening into this broadcast right now. There could be one listener, there could be no listeners, there could be 50,000 listeners for all I know. And if you're a regular listener to this broadcast, you know I give this spiel in every last show that I do. But I do it for a reason, because I've only got an hour here. I could use this time doing something else, but the reason I always go on this talk is because the only way I know that there is a single person out there listening, that this is reaching an audience, is if you let me know that you're listening. And if I don't know that there's an audience, then there's no point in doing the broadcast. So that's why I stress that so much, if anyone was ever wondering. But nonetheless, I am pleased to say response has been great lately, and propagation conditions seem much better than they were last week. But anyway, like I mentioned, though, I have no idea there's an audience unless you write in, you say hello, and you let me know you're listening. A reception report would be appreciated. Maybe let me know how the signal is coming through tonight. Let me know the frequency you're tuned on. If you feel comfortable doing so, maybe let me know whereabouts in the country or in the world you're catching the broadcast in. And you don't have to write an essay. All you have to do is send in a short email, say, "Hi, I'm listening in." Or if you want, you could say, "I'm listening on 4840 kilohertz from Boston, Massachusetts," etc. But it's just up to you. It's just important for this broadcast. Likewise, if there is a song you would like to hear, please note that I am very lenient when it comes down to the music played in this broadcast. Any title, any artist, any genre, any era. Pick a song, any song, and I, to the best of my ability, will try to get it played for you. So, ways to reach me, very simple. Just send in an email to the following email address: VORWINFO@gmail.com. That again is VORWINFO@gmail.com. Once more, VORWINFO@gmail.com. Maybe send in a reception report or a music request while the next song is playing. I've talked long enough. Let's get into some music. First request of the night comes in from Theo in Ohatchee, Alabama. "Shiny Happy People" by R.E.M.